Hi, everyone, and welcome to Staff Picks. This is a WPL program where us, the library staff you see on screen, from across the system too, which is awesome, get together to share our love of reading with you, the community. We want to start today by acknowledging that Winnipeg is on Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Innu, and the Dakota peoples, and in the homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. Thank you for being here with us today. Each episode of Staff Picks has a theme, and we pick a selection of books based around that we've read and enjoyed to share with you. And today's theme is kids' books we love at any age. So excited for this one. We're excited for all of them. We're just excited about books. We're in the right career, I think. Yeah, I think so, maybe. So every book is available in the library collection, sometimes in multiple formats and languages. And every book in the episode will be listed on an info guide that you can find the address to in the link below. So how does this work? Does Courtney stop talking? Yes! In a round robin style, each of us are going to take a turn presenting a book to you. And at the end, there's lightning rounds where we fire them off very quickly and tell you things very fast about them. So we're going to start with a round of introductions so you know who we all are. And I get to start. You're lucky people. Hear more from me. My name's Courtney, and my favorite kids' book character is either Matilda or Paddington Bear. I can't choose. I hate choices. It's hard to know. So next, we're going to go to Meg, who could introduce herself.
That's true. That's true. My name is Meg. Shocking revelation. My favorite kids book character, I will admit that is a tough one. I went with the first one that came to mind, Nimona. Big fan, very big fan of Nimona.
There. Your turn.
Hi, so I'm Tegan, and my favorite kids' book characters are definitely Elephant and Piggy from the Mo Willems books. They are always so fun to read about.
We love them.
Mhm.
They get into crazy antics. We love that. An adventure is a great time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going first. I'm diving right in. We're talking about Dream Slinger by Gracie Kim.
Mhm.
This is a relatively new book. It was published in 2025. It is a junior fiction book, but it's like a middle grade book. It's a chapter book. We have it in print, obviously, but we also have it on Hoopla as a German audiobook. Less helpful for me when I don't read German and was looking for it. But still, I took this copy out and it was wonderful. This is the first book in the Slinger duology, so that means there's two books. So the second book, Royal Slinger, comes out in July. And I already read it on an eGalley, and I can tell you it's amazing. So, reviewers say that this book is like Amari and the Night Brothers meets Pokemon meets X-Men at a Korean Hogwarts in a series where dragons and phoenixes roam the skies of Seoul and dreams literally come to life. Have you ever thought of a book that maybe Courtney would like more? It's like all of the things. So it was a great read for me. Gracie Kim is a really well-known middle grade author. She did a series called The Gifted Clans for the Rick Riordan Presents imprint. Everybody knows Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson. He does a series called Rick Riordan Presents where they focus on more mythological and cultural fairy tales from lots of different cultures. It's great. So Gracie Kim did a Korean series. So that's how I knew about her. This is her second series. These books have won countless awards in 2025, so they're people know. So this book is about a girl named Arya who's a dream slinger. And a dream slinger is someone who in their dreams has genetic powers. They travel to a place that's somewhere else. And it can be dangerous, but it can be really amazing. So it's like everything else in the world. It has both good and bad, and you have to balance those consequences and be taught how to use your powers appropriately. But fear takes a place, and things get complicated. People have passed due to some tragedies, so a little bit of trigger warning. There is some loss and stuff in this book. Um, but the book centers around a competition to join the Royal League of Dream Slingers. But it's really about magic and friendship and belonging as you search to find your own identity. What a wonderful thing to teach a child. I love that. So what drew me to the book was the description. I like a lot of the references. Amari and the Night Brothers, the fourth one, is just back there to start reading today. So, it worked. So I figured this was a good bet, and it was. It took a little bit for me to get into it because it starts kind of explaining the rigid structure of the society that doesn't like these people who are different. And you're like, "Ugh." But once you get past that first chapter, you're like, this is amazing. They have things called dream companions, like dream companions that grow out of like flower pots like snapdragons. It's so cool. It's really different. I haven't heard anything like it before. So if you can get past that first little bit, if you were like me, you get into the whimsy and the wonder, it's really great, but it's also really meaningful because it gets into topics of discrimination, segregation, and acceptance. And in today's climate, these are things that kids do need to know about to be whole people in our society. They have to be aware that these things go on because they're going to encounter them. Um, in an interview, Kim says that Arya came around when her daughter aged. So as her daughter was getting older, she was experiencing these big feelings and wanted her to know how to kind of navigate that in the world, which is, yay, we love that. Um, she did a quote that said, I did want to write a story about feeling stuck between different versions of reality and the courage it takes to embrace complexity in a world of absolutes. And while all the other themes were organic, the one message I actively wanted to share with my readers was that at some point, we all need to forge our own truths. It's a very, everything is intentionally crafted, I found with this. So I chose this book because of the vivid world building. There are also some illustrations just in the top that kind of like set the tone for it. The covers are really bright. She has stuff on her website that goes along with it. Like there's a lullaby for Arya you can learn to play, different cards for Dream Panions, kind of like Pokemon a little bit. And she's got that for both books. So it's kind of cool that she's drawing those readers in when you have to imagine what the world is instead of like a picture book where you get to see. I like the imaginative take on the fantasy and just that narrative about how living in the world can be difficult for everybody, but it explains it to kids in a way without speaking down to them. That evolution of junior writing is really where it's shining, I find. Um, there are more voices and experiences that are honoring these things, so that's great. Honorable mentions for this category are these other two right here that I've got. Afia and the Land of Wonders is a take on Alice in Wonderland through the lens of African culture. It's an illustrated novel, so good. But also, The Girl Who Kept the Castle is another one. They're all kind of in the same world of like, yeah, you could read Harry Potter or other magic books. So, if you're looking for something for someone who's interested in other cultures, that likes an imaginative take and the world kind of breaks your brain a little bit with its different adventures, Dreamslinger by Gracie Klim. It's really good. Okay, I'm done my first one. Somebody else's turn now.
It's my turn now. My first book, we're taking a bit of a turn. We're going into picture books with Big by Vashti Harrison. We have this as a physical book. It's about 60 pages and we have it in English and French. So this book teaches self-acceptance through a child's journey as she learns how words both hurt and heal. We meet this adorable baby who is taught to dream big. She loves to dance. And as she grows, the emphasis becomes on how big she is growing. People keep commenting on how big she is. And even if they don't mean it in a bad way, she feels it every time. The story really shifts when she gets stuck in a swing at school. And of course, all the kids make fun of her. And even the teacher, like, stands there and is illustrated with hands on hips saying, "Don't you think you're too big for that?" So now we have this double meaning because she is both too big, being a plus size, quote unquote, individual, and too big for childlike joy and wonder when she's still a child. And this is particularly hard hitting for a child in the world of dance when small is kind of what's expected. Our main character stops dancing, she starts wearing gray, she starts doing what other people tell her, and she also reflects on how being called big somehow makes her feel small. as we go through the book and people continue to comment on her, we also get this illustration of her literally growing bigger and bigger until she barely fits on the page. So, the turning point of the story, and why I think it's a particularly great read for readers of any age, when she gets too big for the page, she starts crying, and all of the words people call her flow out onto the page. And she looks around and starts collecting them, and she keeps the positive words for herself, and she goes around and hands the negative words back to the people who called her those things. And she's just like, these are for you. They don't serve me. I don't need them. It's your business, kind of thing. And that is so wonderful. I wish I had that little strength. She washes off the gray, and the book ends with her dancing surrounded by the positive words she kept. This book has so much to offer for readers of any age. It's also, I mean, beautifully illustrated. Vashti Harrison has this lovely kind of brushed quality to her illustration that really lends to the emotional tone of the story. It's all about acceptance and the power of words. It's a great storytime option for young readers. You can start conversations about self acceptance and the strength of words to hurt and heal. And again, I would also recommend it to grown-ups who are looking for a short read with these messages and who just want a little bit of healing. Maybe I cried a little first time I read it. Maybe I didn't. You can't prove anything. And that's my first recommendation. I will hand it over to Tegan.
Thanks, Meg. That book sounds absolutely awesome. I can't wait to check that one out with my 5-year-old. I think that would be a really good one for her. Okay, so for my first pick, I have It Bears Repeating by Tanya Tagaq. And I love this book for a story time because it has, okay, well, first of all, amazing, beautiful illustrations that are, I think, super unique, something we don't always see in our picture books. It's a really great counting book. So in this one, we learn to count all the way up to 10 in an octatak, which is really fun. So you have Qualit Nanui, 10 polar bears, and you get to have these cute little rhymes at the bottom, and it's just such a fun counting book. There's an additional language element, and I really love reading this one both in library story times and at home. I think it is super, super fun. So yeah, It Bears Repeating. It's my first pick for a picture book. There you go, and I can pass it off to Courtney.
That is a great picture book. I like that one. Counting ones are always a good idea. And especially with other languages in there. That's just a great way to learn that. All right, we're talking Lost and Found. Lost and Found by Sean Tan, which is actually 3 stories in one. See how I did that? This is a picture book with 3 books in there, so it's a little longer. It's 128 pages because there's more of them. So the 3 stories in here are The Red Tree, The Lost Thing, and The Rabbits. So if I was to try and draw you in, a girl finds a bright spot in a dark world. A boy leads a strange lost creature home. And a group of peaceful creatures cede their home to hostile invaders. Okay, that last one's a little intense. My favorite story was The Red Tree in this one, so that's the one I'm going to focus on. Picture books are all about the art for a lot of us, right? We like what we're looking at. And I tend to pick less popular, little strange, and wild and creatively imaginative ones because they speak to me differently. And Sean Tan is one of those brains that just works differently. And you can see it. Where's a good one? In his art, just in the different way that he shows things on the page, right? Like it's just fantastic. Wait, there we go. Fantastical, imaginative, experimental things. Yeah, he's an author, but I would say an artist first because he does painting, sculpture, film, and theater. So he really thinks about it in a big way. These stories are all related to themes of relationships between people and places. Okay. The Red Tree is a story, it's the idea of a book without a story. So we're kind of in the realm of wordless picture books. He does use minimal words, but I liken him to like an Aaron Becker or David Weisner when you're kind of thinking about things like that. Um, this, he describes this book as an experimental narrative that uses art to describe feelings through metaphor. This is really cerebral. And you can kind of tell that when you're going through it, but not in a way that like sets it apart, just in a way that kind of invites you to go deeper with it. Kids get that. We don't have to explain that to them. We all know that. It boils down to this. The images and the words allow the reader to determine their own meaning and kind of put their own value on that imagination. So it's interesting. I chose this one because of the art. I know, shocking. It was recommended to me by one of my staff. And then I read everything I could by Sean Tan. There's a stack over because it's just really interesting how he does. I just like how he doesn't hold anything back in this story. The Red Tree is about when life isn't good and explaining that to kids. And when things go from bad to worse, it kind of walks through different things, kind of like in the Dr. Seuss, oh, the places you'll go, there's the bad place, right? And but you get through there and you'll learn things and figure that out. So it's kind of teaching kids that there. It handles heavy topics, but it does end in a hopeful way, just to let you know it's just not all dark out there. And I think that has to focus, the imagery helps with that. So it makes a lot of sense. This book, Tan says, is inspired by this one, the book that goes along with him, The Mysteries of Harris Burdick, which Harris Burdick was a guy who all of a sudden showed up in a publisher's house one day with 14 images and one-liners to go with them. He disappeared. No one ever heard from him again. So it's kind of like this mysterious history that goes along with it. And when you see that, and then you see Tan, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. That makes sense. You kind of see this choose your own adventure. Things are different here, kind of Alice in Wonderland vibe to it. Yeah. So read all of those things. The Harris Burdick stuff. Now I'm reading that. Geez. Um, Reminds me, like I said, Aaron Becker, David Weisner. These are all really cool things to check out. But yeah, Sean Tan, if you have a small human who's a little bit more interested in different things, this could be a place to go. All right. That's my second pick. Meg, it's your turn.
My next pick is You Were Made for This World, Celebrated Indigenous Voices Speak to Young People. It is juvenile nonfiction, about 120 pages. We have it as a physical book and an ebook. Happy National Indigenous History Month. I was so excited to get this book in time to feature. You're Made for This World is a beautifully published collection of letters and artwork to young Indigenous people from established Indigenous authors, artists, athletes, scholars, thinkers from all over Turtle Island. Tanichekak is in here. The letters are a variety of content. Some offer encouragement and teachings. Some are like letters to the author's young selves when they were struggling to kind of share in the struggles that young people are facing. There's so much. Every letter is paired with artwork, and there is so much variety in the artwork, and it is all absolutely stunning. It is just a lovely collection of truth and joy and hope, and I absolutely adore it. The collection's edited by Stephanie Sinclair and Sarah Sinclair, who provide an introduction that feels like an introduction to their family members, which just feels like setting the perfect tone for this. And it's all about the importance of storytelling and relationships and healing. After that, we have a foreword by the editor's uncle and the late Senator, Justice, and Chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission for Indian Residential Schools, Marie Sinclair. And Marie Sinclair's foreword is a bittersweet reflection on how he related to the story of the ugly duckling. And like the ugly duckling, he was raised to feel shame because he was raised to think he was something he was not. So Sinclair shares this long-term journey of how he was able to come to feel hope and success and coming to know and understand that through his identity as an Anishinaabe. So it's a great personal story and shows how that can be shared as a beautiful teaching. So I'm not doing it justice. Definitely read that. And the collection itself is divided into 5 sections: water, tobacco, cedar, sweetgrass, and sage. Each section has a brief introduction to explain the medicine and set the tone, and again has each letter paired with artwork. There are so many great contributors. So just a few of my highlights. Again, the artwork. I really cannot give it enough praise. You saw some. Please borrow this. See more. Some of my favorite letters. Katharina Vermette's letter is literally just showering the reader with love and peace and happiness. It is wonderful. The letter by Cindy Blackstock is a promise to Indigenous youth that we will honor the sacrifices of those who came before by putting this generation of Indigenous youth at the center of our work and our decision making. It is incredibly powerful. And Jessica Johns ends the collection with a teaching on traditional practice, medicines, and sharing, and a reminder that it's okay if you don't do these things. The most important thing is to love your friends and family, accept love back, and remember that you were made for this world. So it's a great collection of many voices speaking to the importance of Indigenous youth and telling Indigenous youth over and over again in different ways that they are loved and they are made for this world. So I would recommend this as a great read for National Indigenous History Month. I would recommend it for anyone who works with youth, particularly Indigenous youth. And I'd recommend it for anyone who wants to accept some healing. It was a really, really wonderful collection. On to you, Tegan.
Oh, what a great pick. Thank you so much. For my next pick, I wanted to feature a book from the TD Summer Reading Club recommended reads list because right now at the library, we are just getting into summer reading. Kids can go to any library branch to pick up their free summer reading kit, and our registration is open as well now. If you go to the library events calendar, you can sign up for all of our awesome July summer reading programs. And registration for the August programs is going to open on July 6th. So we have summer reading kits in branch, lots of great programs. And my recommended pick from the TD Summer Reading Club recommended reads is Kate Beaton's Shark Girl. I love Kate Beaton. She's one of my favorite authors. So I was super excited to see one of her books on the list. This book is a really funny, empowering, beautifully illustrated story about, little shark girl living in the ocean and how she brings some of her own kind of shark girl justice to, I would say, a ship that's not doing perhaps a particularly ethical job in the sea. So she, comes up there, transforms herself into a little sailor, and really gets some shark justice for herself and all the sea creatures. And I just love this book. I thought it was a really great take on, all of the creatures we see in the sea for kids' books. I mean, sort of, we see a lot of mermaids, and I feel like this is a good book for all the girls who feel a little bit more sharky. Maybe who don't identify with those mermaids as much. You want to be a little shark girl and really teaches you about standing up for yourself, which I like as messaging to all of the kids. So yeah, I'm going to recommend Shark Girl by Kate Beaton. There we
Love
go.
it.
Courtney, you can
Shark
take it here.
justice.
Mhm.
I am all in. Sign me up. Okay. I get to break the rules because I do. So it's 2 books again. I do what I want. You love me for it. It's just what it is. Meg's like, yeah, we're doing it. Because I can't pick between these two. So we're talking about the library book and the Adventures of Beagle. Because I can't pick. There is a reason why I put them together though, so I'll tell you, I promise. Both of these are in the collection. They're both picture books. They're both under 40 pages. The library book is about a boy who doesn't like reading and how he's finally won over with his visits to the library because we will get you all because reading is great. And Beagle is an unforgettable tale about friendship, imagination, and courage to find your place in the world. So yeah, 2 books, you lucky people. So 2 things that stand out for me from childhood are your local small town public library, because I had a small town, and imaginary friends. That's what these two things are. And both of these things have to do with imagination and art. So, a story addict, you kind of read a lot of books, you see a lot of worlds, you get to imagine a lot of things. That's how I'm tying these two together. So this is just a love letter to libraries and stories. Love that for everybody involved. Ro is a library kid who knows that there's a book for everyone. Ro's a smart one. And Zach doesn't like to read. Books are dumb. Zach, come on. Don't worry. That's Zach. We got him. He likes books. There's just such pretty art. It reminded me of Stephen Kellogg from when I was a kid, and so that's why I really love the art in this one. But it's all very vibrant and pirates and dinosaurs, and you can go on an adventure in every book. Check. And then the adventures of Beagle is how imaginary friends find people. Its art style is very Dan Santant, which if you don't know him, you go know him. Everything he writes is so great, and his pictures are just so lovely. Our unnamed friend is born in a place far away where all the imaginary creatures go, and then they are suddenly whooped, like that cat there, up because their person thinks of them, and then they go find their person in the world. Beagle's waiting, and no one's coming for him, so he's unnamed at that point, and just goes, okay, fine, I'm gonna go find you. And Beagle goes to find his person. And it's just an adventure about how, like, you can find yourself. You can do it for you. And it just takes a little bit of creativity and not doing what somebody else says it's for you. You find out what's for you. And that's just a great thing to teach a kid at any age. So obviously, again, the theme here is art, because I like the art, but also that imagination and the different ways of thinking of all of these different things. So yeah, I couldn't pick. Library, book, and Beagle. You should read them all. They're so good. I'm done again. Okay, Meg, it's your turn.
Beagle is an excellent choice. Yeah, excellent choice. My next choice, though, Prince and Knight, Tale of the Shadow King, written by Daniel Hack, illustrated by Stevie Lewis, another picture book. I do come to children's books largely for the art. I also come to adult books largely for the art. I'm here for the art. We have this as a physical book. Happy Pride Month. This is a sequel to Prince and Knight, also by Daniel Hack, illustrated by Stevie Lewis. Daniel Hack also wrote Maiden and Princess with Isabel Gallupo. They are all stories of love and acceptance and adventure and dragons and magic. So lots and lots of wonderful things. If you haven't read book one, a quick recap to set the scene. In Prince and Knight, the prince is at an age where he needs to marry. He's meeting princess after princess, and it's not going well. As he's on a journey to meet another princess, a dragon attacks the kingdom, so he has to rush to the rescue, and when he gets there, he meets a brave knight who has also rushed to the rescue. They defeat the dragon, get talking, and fall in love. That's pretty much book one. It's wonderful. This is book two. Years have now passed. Our heroes, look at them holding hands. They're so happy. They're now married, happily protecting the kingdom together. But then a dark fog begins to settle across the land. So they journey deeper into the darkness to find the source of this magic, the evil Shadow King, which you can kind of see in the background here, but it's quite dark because he's very evil and shadowy. They travel far to reach his fortress and come across a horde of monsters. While they're fighting, the knight is injured and almost drowns. Oh no! But the prince saves him just in time. They share a tender moment to express their love and like, it's okay, I've always got you. And just then, the Shadow King yells for the fighting to stop. And everyone does stop because that's quite unexpected. And the Shadow King explains that he was touched by their love because his darkness grew from the hate of others. He once loved a squire, and everyone turned against them, and the king was banished. The sadness and rage from that hatred caused darkness to grow in his heart, and he became the Shadow King. The prince and knight comfort him, express empathy, and invite the king back with them. Then we have this lovely scene where the Shadow King is able to take a breath, And the fog lifts as light and warmth return to both his heart and his magic for the first time in a long time. And everyone is happy. So this book has it all: love, mysterious dark magic, monsters, a brush with death, empathy, forgiveness, redemption, all in 40 pages of beautiful illustrations. What more could we ask for? Author Daniel Hack has said in interviews that he loved reading action packed fairy tales when he was young, but there weren't characters that represented how he felt. So he started writing them. And I think he's doing a pretty great job, because here we have an action packed fairy tale with 2S LGBTQIA plus representation. Done. Great job. Now, why did I choose book 2 over book 1, you may ask? I particularly like this one because it shows how words can both hurt and heal. The Shadow King was hurt by people, but then this shows how he was healed when shown kindness, empathy, and forgiveness. There's a great part where the knight says to him, "It's unfair how you were treated. Our differences make us unique, yet let's celebrate them with pride." And that's a great message for readers of any age. So I'd recommend this book for an adventurous Pride Month read, anyone looking to diversify their fairy tale options, and a book that shows the power of empathy and kindness. On to you, Tegan.
Thank you so much. What a great choice. That one is another one I'm going to have to request. That looks amazing. So for my next choice, I chose Every Night is Pizza Night. This is by J. Kenzie Lopez Alt, illustrated by Gianna Ruggiero, and I love the illustrations. They are so fun, so full of life. And so this story is about a little girl who says that pizza is the absolute best food ever. Nothing as good as pizza. She wants to have pizza night every single night. She knows this for a scientific fact. But then she sets out to explore her neighborhood because she realizes that she's missing out on a lot of other really good foods. It's not just pizza. She goes, okay, I'm going to try these other foods, but in the end, she expects she'll prove that pizza is scientifically the best food. And I love that she goes out to all of the different families in her neighborhood and she gets to try foods from a ton of different cultures, just exploring all of those different tastes and finding that there are actually a lot of really other delicious other foods out there. It's not just amazing pizza. And then our story ends with everyone in the neighborhood coming together for a really lovely, gathering to share all of the foods from their cultures. They have, a little pizza party to try all of her pizzas and head out to all of the different houses in the neighborhood just to try all these different wonderful foods from a whole bunch of different cultures. And I love kids' books about food. I think they're so fun for kind of exposing kids just to the idea that there are other foods than what we might not eat in our house. And I love the ones where you can experience food from other cultures and see a lot of different things. And I think that one really hits the spot and is super fun. And I will turn it over to you, Courtney.
I like it, but what if instead of pizza, we ate books? It's the only segue I could come up with for that one. Books? We eat books? Oh, it's another twofer. Huh, she did it again. I can't pick. They're both red. That must mean it, and by the same person? That could help. So, do you know Oliver Jeffers? Because if you don't, you should also love Oliver Jeffers and his wild, wonderful, just great brain. Right, lightning, Courtney, go faster. Okay, The Incredible Book Eating Boy and a Child of Books. Uh, yes, there's another theme here. So, books about books are the best things. Fight me on it. I don't know. I think it's just true. Jeffers' style is just really unique. Look at the bite out of the back of this book. It's hilarious. It's great. So, like, look at these drawings of the boy beating the book. He's eating it. It's delicious. In this book, the boy eats the books for the knowledge, but then realizes It's hard to eat books. If you eat them, they're gone and people don't like it. He figures it out in the end. It's really cool, though. A child of books. Ah, I'm a child of books. I come from a world of stories, and those are words. I cried in the bookstore and bought this as a grown adult. It's that good because it gets to a place like that. From this, for this is our world, and we're made of stories. It brings everybody together, shows how books can bring us together, but also like does weird art stuff. It's just read it, please. So good. Um, yeah, that wasn't fast. Help me, Meg. It's your turn.
I was antagonizing over which Oliver Jeffries story to pick, and then you scooped me. But I still have an excellent first lightning pick, which is How to Solve a Problem, The Rise and Falls of a Rock Climbing Champion, written by Ashima Shiraishi, illustrated by Yao Xiao. It is J nonfiction book, about 40 pages. We have it as a physical book. I love this book and have recommended it to many grown-ups because it teaches you that every fall is a message, a hint, or an idea to help you get up and try again, which is a great message for any age. How to Solve a Problem is written by world famous climber Ashima Shiraishi. She started climbing at age 6, quickly became world famous, and is now regarded as one of the best climbers in the world. This is her first book and tells the story of how she visualizes climbing a boulder, or a problem, as rock climbers call it, into small, manageable stages as she's planning. Here we have her visualizing. This one in particular, she like visualizes part of it as like her father's elbow when he's dancing, which I thought was great. Um, and when she falls, she considers that the rock giving her a message, a hint, or an idea to try again. So I really love right from the title, falling is part of learning. It's not a mistake. It's not that it might happen. It is going to happen, and it's part of the process. Side note, I love that illustrator Yao Zhao incorporated her famous pants, which is important because in interviews, she said that her dad picks the fabric and her mom sews the pants. Oh, love it so much. So it's an inspiring story of an athlete who shares how she breaks down the problems to succeed in her field, and highly recommend it.
All right, so for my lightning round pick, I picked The Story Factory because I also love books about books. And this one is so great. It's basically about how all of the books in the world are just being churned out kind of by this like boring story factory. No one's writing them. They're all just like coming out. They're not very exciting. But then one day the factory gets jammed up and there's a big book explosion, and all of the books kind of spew out everywhere. And then they're scooping them back up, putting them back in the factory, and the books are all getting mixed up and jumbled together. And it's all about how much fun you can have when you are creating your own stories and mixing them up. And it's got really cute illustrations. It's by Jam Dong. And yeah, I love this one. Storytime favorite.
That sounds amazing. Free piano, not haunted. We're going to graphic novels. Do you know there are not that many graphic novels for us who play piano, you know? And especially not so many where, wait for it. Look at it. Rawr. It's great. So Free Piano Not Haunted is a junior graphic novel. Um, it's about 256 pages. It's not too bad. Lots of great art. It's by Whitney Gardner. Did I say that? Can't remember. Piano is free, but fame has a price. Sign me up. So, Margot found a synthesizer, abandoned. Mystery? Yes. It says not haunted on the sign. It's a pretty good indicator right away that's probably haunted, but hey, whatever. We learn. She learns that this piano, she's hoping this piano can prove that she's a songwriter, can make her dad listen to her, and she can realize her dreams. So she's got a lot riding on this not haunted piano. So Margot dives headfirst into trying to get fans online, but everything goes a little sideways as they do because she realizes it is haunted. There's a spirit in the piano, and being so obsessed with fame and stuff is really just not like a good life plan. So there's a journey. We go up and down, and Margot comes dangerously close to losing what she loves about music, herself. Ooh. It's good. It ends well. There's an angry piano in there with like a face. I love that. That's just imaginative. That's why I picked it. It's just wacky. Sometimes you need a little whimsy, folks. There's a lot in there. Yeah. Free piano, not haunted. Haunted. Sure. Your turn, Meg.
My last lightning round. Again, we're switching to like a warm hug of a read. One of my favorite books, Ocean Meets Sky by Terry Fan, illustrated by the Fan brothers, Eric and Terry Fan. Um, it's the story of a young boy Finn who used to love playing with his grandfather on the beach. His grandfather told stories of this place far, far away where the ocean meets the sky. Now his grandfather has passed away. Today would be his 90th birthday, and Finn decides it's the perfect day for sailing. So he builds this perfect boat. He's going to go to the place where ocean meets the sky. Exhausted from building, he decides to take a nap and awakes to find his journey has begun. He meets a giant goldfish who becomes his guide. And if you know the Fan Brothers, the entire thing is just, I mean, it's beautiful. Why do you want to look at me? Just look at the book. It is just every single page is absolutely stunning. The goldfish guides him on this magical journey, and eventually he ascends into the sky where he gets to the moon and is able to say goodbye to his grandfather one last time. Literally every page is so beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. He wakes to his mother, who's going to make him dinner. It is truly just like magical journey. It is soft and beautiful about a young boy sailing into magical waters. It really shows the strength of the Fan brothers' work. I would recommend this as a good book to consider if you want a very gentle, subtle read to start preparing for or navigating grief with a young reader. But having said that, it really is a good bedtime story that feels like a warm hug and would be great for anyone who just wants to enjoy truly stunning artwork, especially if you like aquatic themes. Like every page truly is just so beautiful. And that's my last pick.
What a gorgeous book, Meg. That looks so beautiful. So for my last pick, I wanted something summery, something beachy, but also a little bit educational with the most charming illustrations you've ever seen. So I am doing The Disappearing Castle, The Case of the Disappearing Castle. It's a Gumboot Kids nature mystery. I love the Gumboot Kid books. I think they are just so gorgeous and charming. Look at this little maze. You can't get cuter than that. Um, and it's just a really great book. They go out to solve the mystery of a little castle that keeps disappearing when they build it. And they end up learning at the library all about tides and kind of finding out that it's the tides that make their castle disappear every day. Solving a little mystery, learning about the beach. I feel like this would be perfect if you're heading out to the beach, maybe. Just a really fun, charming summer book that is very educational. I've got that one. I love it.
That's so great. That's a whole bunch of new books for you people out there.
Mhm.
Like graphic novels, picture books, junior fiction novels for all ages. So that's what we've got for you today. We hope you enjoyed the program. And if you did, there's other ones that you can look at down there in the list. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for being with us. Bye.